morning, everyone. My name is Mel. Welcome back, and today it is Summerween time. I am so excited to finally be kicking off Summerween. It feels like it was announced forever ago, and I've just been sitting around waiting on it to happen. So today is the day. If you don't know what Summerween is, get your head out of the rock. It is a summer Halloween themed readathon for those girlies of us that just are dying for fall right now. That's me. It is currently 82 degrees outside and it's not even 10 o'clock in the morning. So I'm the girl dying for fall, for the crows, for the fog, for the cool. That's me. This is a readathon hosted by Olivia from Olivia Reads a Latte and Gabby from Gabby Reads. They've been doing this for a while. I think the first Summerween was 2 years ago, and then slowly there started to be more like Winterween, Camp Weekendween, Spring Flingaween, lots of different readathons hosted by them that are Halloween themed, but this one is always one of the very most fun. I'm going to be participating and bringing you along with me. So first things first, there are prompts for this readathon. I'm ignoring them. I'm pretending they don't exist. I'm using this as an excuse to read all of the spooky thriller mystery books that have been on my TBR, so I'm ignoring the prompts. If they fit, great. If they don't, we're just gonna pretend I didn't know they were there, okay? I have a very loose TBR. I have a I'm definitely gonna read them TBR, and then I have a MBR for Summerween. So the first one that I'm definitely gonna be reading is Upgrade by Blake Crouch. This just came out this week on Tuesday, and I've been chomping at the bit to get to this. Loved Recursion, loved Dark Matter. Haven't read Wayward Pines yet, but I definitely want to. Blake Crouch has gone into this thing where he does science and thriller horror mashup, and it works extremely well. This particular one I think is about a guy that gets modified, his genes get modified. So previous books have followed like memory and time travel. This one is following gene modification. So I'm very excited to read this one. I like that it's a little bit different than his previous books because shaking up the formula, never a bad thing, but I trust that he's going to grip me and I am going to be along for the ride. So the next one that I'm absolutely going to be reading is one I'm also so excited for that came out Tuesday, and that is What Moves the Dead by T. Kingfisher. I read Hollow Places last year or year before last and adored it. It is quirky, it is body horror, it is atmosphere, it is portal fantasy. I had a great time with it. So I then read Twisted Ones a shortly while after that. Enjoyed it, but didn't like it quite as much, but still had a good time. So I'm excited for What Moves the Dead. Honestly, I don't have any idea what this is about. I know that it is a retelling of The Fall of the House of Usher, and I know it's super short, and I know it has a very creepy rabbit on the cover. So this is all I know about this one. But I'm excited. So we're definitely going to be reading this one. It's short. I don't think it'll take me very long at all, and the audiobook is on script, so may even listen to that today. Next up, one that I'm also going to be reading, mostly because I needed another audiobook, and the library hold came through yesterday, so I figured it must be a sign, right? The library gods are telling me to read this book. And that is The Night She Disappeared by Lisa Jewell. This is one of the few of her newer ones that I actually have not read yet. It came out last year, and then the sequel to The Family Upstairs is coming out this year, which I need to reread because I don't remember a whole lot of that book. But this one has been getting really good reviews so far. I don't know a ton about it. I know that on a summer night, I think 2 teenagers head out and they turn up missing, and then one of the teenagers' mother is trying to piece together what happens and to find them. But then the case is cold, and a writer moves into a cottage in the same estate and starts to find things about what happened to them. Sounds really good. Like I said, got the audiobook for it. I'm excited to read it. I've heard good things from people that have similar reading taste to me because Lisa Jewell's one of those that can kind of be hit or miss, but I'm excited. And then last but not least, we've been talking long enough, so I'm going to run through these super fast. My MBR, maybe TBR, the first one is a very short slasher novella that Rye has told me that I need to read. I'll put the cover one of these places because I can't remember what it was called. I'm also going to be reading The Locked Door for Officially Unofficial Book Club. I don't know if I'll vlog much of that because there will be a live stream for it, but we'll see. Then I've been really dying to get to In My Dreams I Hold a Knife by Amy Winstead. This one came out last year, I believe, and got rave reviews. The Resting Place by Camilla Stein, I've been dying to read ever since I read The Lost Village and just fell in love with the atmosphere of that book. The book itself, the story was okay, but the atmosphere, top notch. And I think this one is a haunted house mystery. And then we have Sundial by Catriona Ward. This one is one of her follow-ups after The Last House on Needless Street, which I really loved. This one got mediocre reviews, but I still want to read it. And then I also have Little Eve, which is one that is being re-released in October that I may want to get to. And last but not least, we have the most summery on my TBR, and that is Reckless Girls by Rachel Hawkins. The last one that I read was actually set in the town I went to college in, so that was really cool. It was okay. I had a decent enough time, but I didn't just absolutely love it. But I've heard from some people that if they didn't like that one, they did really like this one. So since it's super, super summery, I may try to give this one a go. Okay, so I've been talking for 7 minutes now. We need to shut me up. I'm going to go do the thing that is a Friday thing, and I will chat with you guys a little bit later. Ali, are you ready to go home? You ready to go home? Let's go home. You got a new do. Ali. Okay guys, so I am about 60% into Upgrade by Blake Crouch. This is my first read for Summerween, and I'm really enjoying it so far. It still has the Blake Crouch super sci-fi, lots of high action, heart-pounding like thriller vibes, but instead of focusing on like memory or time travel like his previous novels have done, this one focuses on genetics and genes, kind of mutating things and how you can mutate genes and why this can be both good and bad. Like I said, I'm only 60 pages in, so I'm not super far, but so far I've had a lot of fun with it. It seems like it's going to be very fast-paced, but I do think we're going to get a lot of science explanation, which for me is fine, but I can see where a lot of people might not love all the sciencey stuff. We'll see. It may just be the beginning kind of exposition that we're getting. I don't know if that's going to continue, but I will let you know. I am about to finish up late night sprints with Rachel and Bobby. It is 11:30 for me right now, so I think this is going to be our last sprint. I'll read as much as I can and then check back in with you guys tomorrow once I've had a little bit of sleep, because I wish I had gotten Summerween off to a better start. I mean, this is day one. I only read 60 to 80 pages depending on how much I get done, but I'm going to count that as a win. I'm going to count it as a win because I got started late. So I'll check in with you guys tomorrow once I've gotten about halfway through Upgrade, and hopefully it'll still be going well. So small update. I started listening to The Night She Disappeared by Lisa Jewell on my way to grab pizza earlier, and the audiobook is kind of terrible quality. I find that interesting because it's a pretty big publisher, so I don't know what happened there, but it's very, like, through the speakers, it's cracking the speakers, the audio, the voice is really muffled and slow, so I don't know if I'm going to be able to do the audiobook for that one, at least not on Libby. So I have looked to see if I could get one of the others as an option, and all Reckless Girls is available soon or already available, so that's an option. The Camilla Stein, The Resting Place, is available soon, so it'll probably come up within the next couple of days, and then In My Dreams a Hold Thy Knife is on Scribd. So all three of those are now potentials for audiobooks that I could be listening to. I may just try a chapter of each of them and see what I think, and once I decide exactly what I'm reading, I'll come back and let you know. I'm also 146 pages through Upgrade, so I might as well give you guys an update while we're here talking about it. I like it, but I don't like it as much as Recursion or Dark Matter. The genetics thing is very heavy-handed, and while it's interesting, it's just not quite as interesting to me as the time travel or the memory stuff was. I feel like we're just constantly using as an excuse to say, well, I am a superhuman, and these are the genes that were modified, and that's fine, I get that, but it's just very repetitive. So I'm interested to see what happens, hopefully now that we've kind of gotten that out of the way and we're about halfway through. Maybe it'll get a little bit less repetitive and some of the action will pick back up again, because the action did lull a little bit once we got past the initial event, I guess, for lack of a better way to put it. I'm still having a good time with it. I'm just not liking it quite as much as the other two. So I will check back in with you guys once I'm finished with it and have decided which audiobook is going to be for me. I think Rye has decided to do some last minute Summerween Patreon sprints, so I'm going to join her really quick for those and hopefully get a lot of reading done tonight, because too many books, too little time.
Hi.
Hi.
To very last minute Patreon sprints I was bullied into, but I wouldn't have it any other way. So
It's my fault. Oh, so you're gonna take like a half naked picture of me. Hi,
Yes,
Mel.
half naked picture, Bobby. Okay guys, so I just wanted to check in really quick. I had to go to the urgent care this morning. I have done something to my ear. I thought it was maybe just clogged up, but then they tried to do all the things and now I can barely hear, I can barely talk without it ringing and giving me feedback in my ear. So that's been fun. While I was sitting in the urgent care for 2 hours though, I decided to go ahead and try the first chapter of Reckless Girls, The Resting Place, and In My Dreams I Hold a Knife. The one, Resting Place, was a pretty interesting first chapter. I enjoyed it. I thought it was different, and I liked the writing style. In My Dreams I Hold a Knife was only like 6 minutes long, and I just wasn't really that intrigued by it. It was just setting up her wanting to go back to her 10-year reunion, and it was okay. It just didn't really grip me. And then the first chapter for The Resting Place was also really, really interesting. So I'm trying to decide which one I'm going to listen to, because I've got to drive a pretty long way to David's today. I think I may go with The Resting Place, just because I need something really, really distracting, and I really enjoyed The Lost Village, or The Last Village. So I will let you guys know once I've read a little bit more of that. I still have not finished Upgrade. I went to bed early last night and didn't finish it. So those are the two agendas for today. Finish Upgrade and get a pretty decent chunk into The Resting Place. Everybody, so we just got done watching Top Gun Maverick, which David's been dying to see, and so I talked him into telling us what he thought about the movie. What did you think about the movie? Did you like it?
I did like it. It was pretty good.
Did you like it better than the first one?
It was close.
It was close?
Yeah.
It was kind of cheesy, but in a good way. Good cheesy.
I should have played Take My Breath Away more.
I think they only did that maybe as an instrumental or something. I didn't really
It was
hear it
like
much.
20 times in the first one, so they should have at least done it 10 in this one.
No, that is a false statement. I kind of wish we'd had a Titanic moment at the end, though. For no spoiler context, but...
I don't want somebody to get kicked off the headboard.
Real quick, while he's pondering his Take My Breath Away moment, I got 2 books at the bookstore. First one was The Hiding Place by C.J. Tudor. I think this is the only C.J. Tudor I have not read. Perfect for Summerween. And then the other one was Girls Like Us by Christina Agler. I think that's how you say that. I don't know anything about this one, but it's a FBI agent investigates some grisly murders on Long Island. So, should be good, but maybe I'll get to one of these 2 during Summerween sometime. If I do, I'll let you know. Okay, hopefully this clip is usable later because I'm at David's and David has no good lighting and no good place to film an update, but figured I would give it the old college try because I just finished Upgrade by Blake Crouch. I don't have the dust jacket with me, but this one was okay. It was not my favorite. I liked Dark Matter and Recursion a lot more than I liked Upgrade. I will say that the first half kind of irritated me with how repetitive it was. We were constantly being told over and over and over and over again about these upgrades. And I got it, we got it, but you don't have to tell me 8,000 times. After the first half, that kind of went downhill and the plot really started to move forward. I enjoyed it. I thought it was a fun, fast-paced time. You will have to suspend a lot of belief in this book. It's not one of those that's going to make perfectly logical scientific sense, but it was fun either way. I had a good time. It was very fast-paced, but technically was not one of my favorite books. So on the scale of Dark Matter, Recursion, Upgrade's gonna go at the bottom of the pile. Still a good time, still recommend that you read it. It's fun. And like I said, it does require some suspension of belief, but to me, I knew that going in and I had a good time with it regardless. So 4-star read from me. I will be reading any more of Blake Crouch's stuff in the future, so had a good time with that one. And then I also started The Resting Place by Camilla Stein. I got about 2-3 hours into the audiobook today. I didn't get a ton read, but so far this is about a woman who has face blindness. I'm not even going to try to pronounce that word right now. It's too late for that. Face blindness, and she has been required to, her parents died when she was little and she's been raised by her grandmother, and she's been required to go to her grandmother's house every single Sunday for dinner, even though they're not on the best of terms. And when she gets there, she opens the door and realizes that the person that she opens the door to doesn't have the markers that she uses to identify her grandmother, and then they rush out the door and she goes in and realizes that her grandmother is actually dying on the floor. And so we flash forward 5 months into the future where she's been told that her grandmother has left this big mansion that her grandfather died in to her and her cousin, I believe. Don't quote me on the cousin part. So she and her husband are going to go kind of clean out this manor, get it set up to be sold, and some weird stuff starting to happen. Granted, she has had a lot of trauma in relation to finding her grandmother dead, and so the question is it her or is there something more going on here? So far, so good. I'm not sure if it's going to have the mental health, anxiety, trauma as a plot device thing. If it does, I'm not gonna love that just because it's overdone. We've seen it 9,000 times. I need something a little bit different, a little newer, a little fresher. But like I said, I'm only 2 hours into the audiobook, so it very easily could take a completely different turn. Narrator's really good. It's a little bit creepy so far. I'm having a good time and will absolutely be continuing. Tomorrow I have to go to a new clinic at work, so I'm not exactly sure what my day is going to look like. I am going to be in a hotel room tomorrow night, so I will show you guys where I'm going to be staying for the evening. I don't know if I'll be able to participate in any sprints because I don't know what the Wi-Fi is going to look like, but my agenda for physical reads tomorrow is What Moves the Dead. I'm so freaking excited for it. Cannot wait to read it, and the fact that I haven't read it yet just kind of makes me sad. So that's my next physical read is What Moves the Dead. I'm going to try to read it all tomorrow because it's super short. And after that, I don't know. We'll see. Got lots and lots of reads and choices for spring, Summerween. I'm having a great time so far. And yeah, let's move on to day 4, shall we? Okay guys, sorry for the terrible lighting. I am in a hotel room tonight. I think I mentioned yesterday that I had to go off-site for one of my clinic coverages today, and they graciously paid for a hotel room since it was such a long drive for us. But as if you've ever been in a hotel room, you know that it's a bunch of lamps, and lamps don't have good lighting when you're talking about filming a video. So we're just doing the best we can. This is 2 kind of crappy quality clips in a row, but hopefully you're not here for the quality of my coloring. Hopefully you're here for what I thought of books. So I have finished The Resting Place by Camilla Stein. This is an author that I gave 5 stars to last year. I loved The Lost Village, mostly for its ambiance, but I still had a really great time with the book as a whole. It was very spooky. It was the right book, right time. And so I was very excited to read The Resting Place. And Unfortunately, I just did not love this one quite as much as I did the first one. I think I'm going to end up giving it a mid to low 3-star. It wasn't bad. I don't regret reading it, but there were a lot of elements that were very similar to The Lost Village, and I don't know, it just didn't keep me gripped enough. The main character and the spooky elements just weren't quite there the way that they were in the first book, and the writing style was good. I still enjoyed the writing style. I think the translation is fantastic, but a lot of the elements that I loved so much about the first book, the spooky, what's going on, is it real, is it not real, ambiance is not really something, that atmosphere is not what you got in this book. I felt like the reveals were very predictable in my opinion. As a matter of fact, the one like epilogue reveal, I'm not sure if that was supposed to be a reveal because I thought it was pretty obvious from about halfway through the book. So this one just wasn't my favorite. It wasn't overly thrilling. It wasn't over horror. It wasn't super, super mysterious. It was just kind of middle of the road. But it was okay. I don't regret reading it. Tomorrow I will probably be picking up Reckless Girls on my way home because that was the other first chapter that really intrigued me. So I will likely be listening to that on my 2-hour drive home. And then tonight, I'm going to try to get a decent chunk of What Moves the Dead read this. Ooh, that lighting was terrible. Is it better over here? Yeah, better enough. What Moves the Dead by T. Kingfisher. We talked about this one, Follow the House of Usher. Super, super excited for it. The first just like paragraph is so gross, and I'm so excited. I hope that it lives up to my expectations, but I'm just going to read you guys the first paragraph because I thought it was really good. The mushroom's gills were deep red color of severed muscle, the almost violet shade that contrasts so dreadfully with the pink pale viscera. I'd seen it any number of times in a dead deer and dying soldiers, but it startled me to see it here. Perhaps it would not have been so unsettling if the mushrooms had not looked so much like flesh. Love it. I'm so excited. I think it's going to be creepy and gross and just a great Summerween book. So once I get a decent chunk of that one read, can tell you a little bit of what it's about and my thoughts, I'll check back in with you guys. It's only 8:30 right now, and I'm hoping to stay up closer to like 11-ish tonight, even though I do have to go to work in the morning, but I want to get as much read as possible. So I'll check back in a little bit later. Might be tomorrow, might not make it again tonight, but we'll try. We'll see. I'm home! I'm so glad to be home. As nice as it was to kind of have a hotel room all to myself, it was not my pillows, not my bed, and I am so glad to be home. I'm waiting on my parents to bring Ollie back to me because they kept him while I was gone overnight, and I miss my baby, so really excited that they are bringing him home. But because I had such a long drive, I was able to finish Reckless Girls by Rachel Hawkins. This is a retelling of something, kind of like The Wife Upstairs was a retelling of Jane Eyre, but I don't remember what it is. Yeah. So this book follows our main character, Lux, who met a guy while she was working in a bar, and he is this rich kid that is trying to not live off of his parents' money, and he's going to Hawaii and invites her to go with him. She doesn't know him all that well, but she agrees to go to try to get away from some stuff that's been going on in her personal life. Then they get hired by 2 strangers and decide to go to this deserted island, and they meet 2 other strangers there, and now we have 6 strangers on a beach. That's about the extent of the plot of this book. There's not a whole lot going on for the majority of it. It is a very, very slow relationships involved kind of story. It's not one that's super, super thrilling. It's not even all that mysterious, honestly. I mean, they're on the island and there's some creepy atmosphere involving, you know, being able to see massive amounts of just water in front of you and not having anybody around. But for the most part, there's just not really a whole heck of a lot going on in this book, and the writing style is really easy. It's a very accessible book. It's short. The audiobook is only 8 hours long, so I flew through it, but it's just not that thrilling or that mysterious, so I think I'm gonna give it like a low 3-star, maybe a 2.5. I haven't really decided yet. The characters are relatively insufferable, which is the point, but I don't know. It just didn't do a whole lot for me. Fun, summer thriller. If you like The Wife Upstairs, I would recommend reading this one, but it wasn't anything that like blew my socks off. I also forgot that tonight is the first night of the unofficially official book club. We're reading The Locked Door by Frida McFarlane. I think I'll put the cover up here somewhere so you guys can see it. I don't know if we'll finish the whole book tonight, but I will, if we do, I will let you guys know as I'm reading it what my thoughts are on it. We'll just include it in the Summerween vlog. This is supposed to be a thriller about a woman whose dad was a serial killer and she grows up to be a doctor, and then somebody has ended up murdered and the suspicion falls back on her because of who her dad was. And as long as you don't go in the basement, she's got nothing to hide. Sounds relatively generic, but I'm hoping it'll be a really quick, easy read. I think it's only like 200 pages long, so I'm excited to read it with Ryan, Cass, and everybody in the Discord. Either way, I think it will be a fun discussion. And yeah, I will let you guys know what I think of it once I have finished that. So that is Upgrade, The Resting Place, Reckless Girls, and then hopefully The Locked Door tonight. We'll make 4 books for Summerween. I would love to get at least 5 done, and What Moves the Dead I should be able to finish relatively quickly. So fingers crossed, I will consider that extremely successful. But I gotta go get a hold of my puppy dog. I'll check back in with you guys in a bit. Okay, it's time for a good spooky ambiance. So what have we got? We've got sacred music from an ancient church at nighttime. I don't know about that one. Let's go down to, scroll. Why won't you scroll? Ah! Okay, follow ASMR. So we've got Halloween spooky ambiance, haunted house ambiance. There's one in particular that Ryan and I were watching the other day that I really liked. Halloween party ambiance at a river manor. That one's a possibility. So this, I think, was the one that Ryan and I were watching the other night that was really, really good. So I may start there, but I haven't done this one in a while. So let's try it first. Yeah, that one's good. Let's do this one. Okay, so I'm not going to be making a treat, but I will make an iced coffee. So let's go ahead and get that one started. And last but not least, put a little ice in there, mix it up, and we are good to go. This is gonna end up being my make a Summerween treat because I have nothing here to bake with. I haven't been home for half of Summerween, so latte? I need a straw. I figured I should just go ahead and do a clip now because I don't think I'm making it through this book. The Locked Door is terrible so far. Like, I am about 20% through and I'm not sure I'm gonna be able to do it. The writing is so heavy-handed. Everything is just getting shoved down your throat, repeated. Apparently the reader cannot infer anything themselves. You're gonna have to tell me every little bitty thing. The fact that she hates men and the message that we're trying to get across that men are just absolutely terrible and they're all pigs, and I swear if I'd finished this book and there's not some kind of like revenge plot line against men, what was the point? And I don't know, the writing is just terrible. This woman obviously hates herself. She is the most poorly written female. If this is actually a man writing under a woman's pseudonym, I would not be surprised, because this is a terribly written female. I don't think I'm gonna be able to do it. I don't care. I don't understand how this book, so far, I don't get how it has 45,000 ratings on Goodreads and is a 4.22. So if I don't finish this book and I'm missing something, please let me know down in the comments, because so far the writing has been horrible for this. I don't get it. We'll see. I might, maybe, give it a little bit more. I think Rye is liking it okay. Cassidy's kind of hating it as much as I am, so I don't know that either one of us is going to make it through. Rye may continue, but Cassidy and I are most likely going to nope out. If I don't nope out, I will let you know, but... So I'm trying to film in a slightly different location today to see if this works, but I'm not sure I like it, so we're gonna go with it for this clip, and then you may never see this again. I just wanted to update you guys on my Summerween progress so far. Ollie. I have finally finished What Moves the Dead by T. Kingfisher, and then I also listened to The Fall of the House of Usher really quick on audio. It only was like 20 minutes long because I wanted a little bit of comparison to the source material. As you guys know, I adored Hollow Places, but unfortunately this one I just did not connect with as well, and I think there is a couple of different reasons for that. The first one is it's historical, and I was not expecting that at all. Historical books and we don't typically get along super well, and I was not expecting this to be a World War II type setting or a historical war setting, and it took me out of the story a little bit just because I wasn't expecting it, and it's not something that I typically gravitate toward. I will say that the atmosphere in this is very, very good. It's very creepy, but the pace is quite slow considering we're talking about a 158-page novella. I didn't love how literal T. Kingfisher went with this story. It is sort of a retelling, but also mostly just kind of her version of The Fall of the House of Usher. It's not really a reimagining. I guess that's a better way to put it. It's almost more of a direct retelling, which is fine. But again, I wasn't entirely expecting that. I was kind of hoping and expecting her to take it more of a Hollow Places vibe, have some of her quirkiness along with the horrific elements. The horrific elements are definitely there. They're just not quite as prominent throughout the whole story. So I had a decent time with it. I would say probably a 3-star is what I would give it. Not bad, not great, but I will definitely read more of T. Kingfisher in the future. So if we count the short story, The Fall of the House of Usher, that means I have read 5 books so far for Summerween. So today is day 6, which means I need to finish a book tonight and tomorrow to get 7 books in 7 days for Summerween, which I would love to do, and we'll see. Now, to update you on the other thing that I'm reading, I also started The Children on the Hill by Jennifer McMahon earlier today on audio on my way to work. This is a very interesting story about a young girl who lives next to an insane asylum, and her grandmother is a psychiatrist there. She and her brother are always out monster hunting and trying to figure out where the next monster is. She wants to be a surgeon. She knows she's going to grow up to be just like her grandmother. And then we fast forward many, many, many years later to 2019, where she is grown. She and her brother have changed their names due to some event that happened, and something happened with their not-so-sister, and you don't really know what's going on. Now Leslie is a monster hunter as an adult, and she's got a podcast TV show. She's well-renowned as an anthropologist. So far, I loved this book when we started. It was very unique, very different. It was drawing me in. Now I'm about 42 to 46% of the way through, and I'm not loving it as much anymore. The past point of view and the kids' point of view is driving me a little bit crazy. I don't love kids' point of views as just a standard rule of thumb, and these are kind of driving me nuts. And I don't know if it's because of the audio or the way it's translated. I'm not sure, but they're obviously 13. They're written like they're 13, which is good and fine. And if they're going to be 13-year-olds, I want them to be written like 13-year-olds, but it's an annoying headspace to stay in for too long. The other problem is that I am enjoying the present or 2019 point of view significantly more. I want to know what is going on in that point of view, but because it hinges so heavily on what happened in the past, I would say that we're getting about 2/3 of the book in the past point of view and 1/3 of the book in the present point of view, which, considering I'm liking the present point of view better, is not so great for me. So right now it's okay. I will continue to read it because the idea is so very unique and something that would be completely up my alley. I'm really enjoying the idea, but I'm not sure if the execution is going to completely play out for me. But we'll see. Hopefully I can either finish that tonight or first thing in the morning, and then I'm also hoping to pick up one, if not two, of the novellas that Rye had recommended. One of them is Cirque Berserk. It's in a little novella series. It's got like 36 novellas, and they're not all connected, so you can kind of jump around. So we'll see. I think that's everything that I have so far for today. I know these updates have been very like sit down, film an update, switch to the next day kind of thing, which was not my goal, but today kicked my butt. I had a lot of patients. I got yelled at by a patient. I had complicated people dealing with today. So it was just one of those days that completely wore me out, and I'm not sure I have a whole lot of energy for filming anything fun today. So hopefully this update will suffice, and maybe tomorrow we can do something a little bit more fun and interesting, or at the very least get some good food. I'm on sprints, Patreon sprints with Rye and Michelle from Michelle's Library right now, and I've got to jump back on with them. Hopefully get a little bit more reading done. And we're gonna finish Summerween strong. I'm gonna finish one, if not two books tomorrow. And I'll be darned if I don't do it. Good morning all, and happy last day of Summerween. I cannot believe it. I'm sad. There's still so many books that I want to read, and I can't believe it's over. But I had a great time, and we're going to finish off the day strong. It is first thing in the morning. I am going to get my coffee. I'm going to try a new place called Scooters, which we just started recently getting around in our area, and so far it's been really, really good. Everybody has voted for my last drink of Summerween to be a cold brew, so I think I'm going to try a vanilla cold brew with a toffee nut cold foam. Sounds really good, so we're gonna go with that. As soon as I get it, I will let you guys know how it is, and we're gonna kick off Summerween right. I got a sugar-free vanilla cold brew with a toffee nut cold foam, and it's really good. Love it. Toffee nut is one of my favorite things in drinks, and that is really, really good. Strong, but good. So I'm still listening to Children on the Hill. Haven't read hardly any more since I read last night, so I don't really have anything to update you guys on that front, but we got coffee. We're headed to work. We're ready to do the end of Summerween right? Okay. Finally home from work on this last day of Summerween. I actually was a tad more productive at work than I thought I would be as far as reading. Don't tell my boss. But I didn't have a ton of patience this afternoon, and Cassidy was doing Patreon sprints, so I was able to get some reading in this afternoon, and I managed to finish The Children on the Hill by Jennifer McMahon. I'm not sure what I think about this one. There are aspects of it that I kind of liked, and aspects of it that really irked me. The kid's point of view, I just wasn't a huge fan of. I know why she did it. I know why she did it that way. I just didn't really connect with it at all. A lot of the twist in the end I did see coming, but there were a couple that I was sort of surprised by. Unfortunately, the two big twists at the end almost were just unsatisfying for me. It's not that they were bad and a bad ending, and I can't even say that I absolutely hated the ending, but it was just extremely unsatisfying to me. This is one of those where I loved the idea and the execution, just, it wasn't great. It didn't really hit me in the feels, you know what I mean? So, decent book, good idea, glad I read it, but it's a meh at best, so like a 2.5, 3-star read, probably a lower 3-star. I had a decent time with it, and I don't regret reading it, but meh. So the next thing I'm going to do is probably read Camp Neverland. I don't know if you guys can see this. It is one of the Ride and Die books by Lisa Quigley. These do not have to be read in order, and Rye has been talking about them, so I asked which one she liked the best that was short. This is the one that she recommended. It's like 74 pages, so I'm hoping to get that read, and then I would love to read a volume of Lock and Key tonight, because if I do, then that's 7 books in 7 days. I'm trying not to use The Fall of the House of Usher, but don't put it past me. If I don't get something read we're still going to count this as 7 books in 7 days as long as I finish something. So really that's all the reading updates for right now. I really want to try to find time too to watch one episode of Stranger Things just to watch something spooky, because I haven't watched anything even slightly spooky during Summerween, which I feel like is a darn shame. And I thought about doing all the murderers in the house, or good grief, I can't even remember the name of that show, but Gavin was just talking about it. But I don't know, I feel like Stranger Things is nice and spooky, and I tried it a really, really long time ago, and please nobody come at me with pitchforks. I didn't love it. I think the kids irritated me a little bit, but I've heard that it really gets better. I should give it another try, give it like 4 or 5 episodes before calling it quits. So that's what I want to do. I would love to watch an episode of Stranger Things tonight and let you guys know what I think. So time is not on my side, but we're going to see how much we can get done. Wish me luck. I just finished Camp Neverland. Took me all of like 45 minutes to read. It's super quick and easy to skim through. I didn't love it, unfortunately. I don't know. It's about a girl that gets chosen to go to this summer camp, and she's been picked on, particularly by this one boy, and never been accepted. And now she's got this group of girls that are going to accept her, and horrible things start to happen. I see where she was going with the Camp Neverland aspect, the Peter Pan undertones, and I kind of see what she was trying to do. The idea was good, but the execution just did not work for me. The writing was typical indie, didn't really have a lot of editing, was very simple and choppy and just not great. And then the plot was just men bad, women good, and that can be done really, really well, and the message can be good, but this one just, it was very slap it in your face, and it took away a lot of the enjoyment of it for me. So I sadly think this one's gonna be a 2-star. It didn't do it for me. Maybe a 1.5. I didn't love it. I wish I did, but I didn't. I was looking for something a little bit more horrific, and not just in the imagery, but the actual story. I don't really know how to phrase that. I'm not 100% sure what didn't work for me in this one. I just know that it didn't work for me. So next up, I'm going to try to be hammering out the 3rd volume of Lock and Key. This one these are not short, so we'll see how long it takes me. I'm on the 3rd volume, and I've already seen the show, which covers this volume, so I may already kind of know what happens, but the show is not like verbatim to the comic, so I'm excited. I really enjoy this series, and I need to continue in it. So that's what I'm gonna do in the next sprint. If I can manage to finish this in the next sprint, it's only 6:40. I am doing really well. I can get this vlog edited. I can watch an episode of Stranger Things. I'm gonna be able to do this. We got this. We got this. So I'll check back in once I have read Lock and Key. Okay, it's time to see what all the fuss is about. Okay guys, so really quickly before I go to bed, we're gonna wrap up what I read today, and then tomorrow I'll film the outro because I'm sleepy. But first and foremost, I read Lock and Key Volume 3. I like it okay. I definitely enjoyed it more, I think, before watching the show, because the show makes some changes that I personally prefer over the Lock and Key graphic novels. They are very, very different. The graphic novels are grittier, darker, with some character development choices, and the way that the characters are changed in the show I tended to prefer, but I still liked this one and found it to be a good story. I will definitely be continuing them. And then I watched the first episode of Stranger Things, and I liked it. I can't say a whole lot about it because it's just the first episode, and first episode of any show is just kind of set up, but I'm intrigued enough to continue. So once I finish Charmed, which I have like 4 episodes left, I will be continuing with Stranger Things. So great spooky show, I guess, to watch for the ending of Summerween. I will come back to you guys tomorrow, and we will close out this vlog with all of my thoughts and ratings and everything for everything. But for now, I'm gonna go to bed, and I will see all you tomorrow. Good morning, everyone. It is the end of Summerween and I am crushed. I am so sad that it's over, but I had such a great time this week. Thank you to Gabby and Olivia for hosting this event because every year the Weens are just something that I absolutely love participating in. I considered this week a resounding success. Not only did I manage to read 7 books, but I also was able to knock off quite a few of my top of my TBR books that I have been needing to get to for some time or just recently acquired and didn't want them sitting on my TBR shelf. So I got to some pretty highly anticipated reads this week. The first one that I managed to get through was Upgrade by Blake Crouch. I liked this one, but not quite as much as the other Blake Crouches that I have read. This one just felt a little heavy-handed with the genetics and it caused it to be very, very repetitive. So the beginning was not as breakneck as I'm used to. The very beginning was amazing, but then we had a kind of a lull throughout the middle and the second half picked up a lot. It was good. I enjoyed it. I think I'm going to give this one a higher 3-star, lower 4-star read. Good, but not great. Then I moved on to The Resting Place by Camilla Stein. This is one that I was really excited for because I loved the Lost Village and the spooky atmosphere surrounding the Lost Village. Unfortunately, this one didn't quite have the same charm for me. I never felt overly spooky, even though it tried really hard. It just didn't quite hit the mark for me on that one. I felt like it was very predictable. I saw everything coming and it wasn't overly logical, but still predictable, which is not a great combination. I liked it, but again, didn't love it, so this one's getting a lower 3-star from me. Then we have The Reckless Girls by Rachel Hawkins. This one's been on my TBR, well, since January of 2022 when it came out. I read The Wife Upstairs with the book troop last year and really enjoyed it, but again, didn't just quite love it. It was a good time, a good summer thriller. I really wanted to like this one. Her writing style is very easy. It's a super fast read, a good summer thriller, but unfortunately it was quite boring. There was not a lot of thrilling going on until close to the very end. And the relationships and the logic between how all of that was shaping out and the twist, it just wasn't that great for me. I didn't find the twist shocking, but again, didn't find it overly logical either. Not a great combination. This one's getting a 2.5 star. The next one that I got to was What Moves the Dead by T. Kingfisher. This is a retelling of The Fall of the House of Usher. This one I had such high hopes for because I adored the hollow places and the quirky, horrific atmosphere that it provided, along with a really good plot. This one unfortunately took The Fall of the House of Usher a little bit too literally. I actually listened to the short story as well so that I could kind of compare the two. All of the names are the same, the characters and their basic functions are the same. We do have something slightly different with the hair, but overall, it was just a little too similar to The Fall of the House of Usher for me. I had a good time with it. It does have some really spooky imagery, but it was also historical setting, which again was a little more literal than I was expecting. I was expecting a more modern day setting based off of the other horror that I've read by T. Kingfisher. I don't like historical settings, and so this one it fell flat for me, but it was still well written and had a good atmosphere, so for that it gets a 3-star. Next up, I read Children on the Hill, which has been in my NetGalley TBR for quite some time. I loved the idea of this book, but the execution just kind of missed the mark for me. I still had a great time with it. I think it was a lot of fun, but there were 2/3 of the book set in the past point of view, and I don't just love children's POVs. I think they were 13 if I'm not mistaken. So fun, but just not great. I felt like those POVs did drag a little bit, where I just really wanted to be back in 2019 following this adult monster hunter and this murder mystery, but the murder mystery part really was low on the priority list for this book. I would say it's more horror than thriller, but not horrific in like body horror and things like that. The ending, there were a couple of twists that I absolutely saw coming, a couple that I didn't see coming quite as much, and the very end just felt a little bit flat for me. She tried to redeem it some in the epilogue, but I don't know, I just didn't absolutely love the way that it ended. I had a good time, I liked the writing style, so I will definitely be picking up more from Jennifer McMahon in the future, but this particular one got a 3.5 star from me. Then I read Camp Neverland, which is part of the Ride or Die series. This one didn't work for me. The writing style was not great, and the story itself just, It wasn't something that I particularly loved. The camp setting, the witchiness could have been really, really cool, but it was too in your face with the throwing at you men bad, women good kind of situation. That can be done really well, but in this particular scenario, I didn't feel like it was. So this one got like a 2-star, 1.5 or 2-star for me. It's a novella. It didn't take me very long to read, but I didn't love it. In that vein, I also attempted to read The Locked Door by Frida McFadden, I believe. I did not like this book. I DNF'd it at 20%. It was the officially unofficial book club for the month, and writing was absolutely terrible. It was another one of those men bad, women good kind of situations that was just hammering in your face. The main character loathed herself, so I loathed her too. It just was not great. But the last and final book that I read for this week was The Lock and Key Volume 3. These are horror graphic novels, and there's also a show based on them. I personally like the show and the changes that they make to a lot of the characters and the character storylines a lot better than I do the graphic novel, but the graphic novel is significantly darker, and that aspect I do like about it. So had a good time with this one. I would say it was like a 3-star. It was good. It wasn't great, but I'm very, very glad I caught up, that I'm continuing in this series, and I definitely plan to finish it out. Okay, well that took a lot longer than I meant for it to, but those are all of the books that I read for this week of Summerween. Thank you guys so very much for watching. If you participated, please let me know down in the comments what you read and what your favorite of the week was, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye!